So we now have this passion about Japan. We want to be here someday, work here someday. How did we go about launching our careers in Japan? So let's start with you again, Alex.
Thanks, Ben. So I lived in the U.S. for 20 years or so early in my career, starting early in my career, and I always harbored the notion that I wanted to come to Japan, similar to what Ben just described. And I was taking small steps to prepare for it, learning language and researching here and there. But where the big step came for me was when I decided to take a Japanese course of 3 months here in Tokyo, and it was a 4-hour-a-day class. So that, to me, that's the only thing that actually worked, the only thing that actually made the difference, where it took me from not being fluent to being fluent in Japanese language. And
total immersion.
That exactly. In fact, I was even doing homestay during those 3 months.
Okay, I was about to ask, so what was your living situation? But it was homestay. Okay,
exactly.
All right.
So with that, I built the base that allowed me to first get a job at Nintendo of America in Seattle.
Okay.
But there's a lot of business trips to Japan,
of course.
And even when I was in the U.S., a lot of relationship with the mothership in Kyoto.
Okay.
So 5 years of that enabled me to go to my next job, where I was working full-time in a research institution in Hyogo Prefecture in Japan, called Raiken. And in Raiken, I was just doing technical work side by side with all my Japanese colleagues. It was like more than total immersion. It was like the real deal, like fully working in Japan. And soon after that, I without this base of the previous work for Riken and for Nintendo, I could land a job in Google Japan, where I was doing partnership work inside Google. It's like technical management or technical partner management work. And there I was representing Google to outside partners with the technical collaboration. So it was kind of like the apex of my immersion in Japan. I have been doing this for 2 years and a half since, and it's been a great run.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's the launch.
Awesome beginnings. And even when you were working at Nintendo from the US, you had to use Japanese to kind of communicate with the headquarters.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Nice. All the time.
Fantastic.
So that was the first step.
Cool. All right. Very interesting. All right. How about you, Taeyong?
I think Alex, you have a great kind of study a lot of Japanese. I mean, that is great. But actually, as I said, I never imagined. I never imagined living in Japan.
Right.
So before I met my wife, I never spoke Japanese except for a few words like arigato, meaning thanks, and komene, sorry. I think those 2 words are commonly I know.
Right.
Those are great words, though.
Very important. Used very often.
So my Japanese was so basic. Of course, during the 2 years we lived together in Seoul, I attended some Japanese school, so I learned kind of very basic, but not much. It's like some few words and basic grammar. But that's all. But actually, after 2 years, we went to the Sydney, Australia, for my MBA and to live there. And then I got job offer for Dell Singapore. So Singapore, I lived in Singapore for 2 years. During that time, my role was like a marketing price manager for the APEC, the developed country, including Japan and Korea and Australia.
Nice.
So that is one of the way I kind of learned the Japan market.
I see.
Because of I need to work with my Japan colleagues for the Japan market, especially on their products. So that is how I kind of getting familiar with the older culture and catching up some Japanese words as well along the way. And then one day, actually, my wife told me she missed living in Japan because she was out of the Japan for almost 5 years, and then she kind of got the homesick kind of thing.
Right.
So at that time I realized I need to think about that. How I can work in living in Japan. So I asked my the manager, hey, I would love to live in Japan someday.
Yeah.
He said, hey, why not? Let's find out some opportunity.
Nice.
And fortunately, within the 2 months, he asked me. He proposed some job opportunity in Japan. I got the job offer and then came to Japan. I think that's how it happened to me to start this living in Japan. So one lesson learned. Hey, so if you imagine something you want, and ask and share those ideas to around the people. I think then something happens.
I was about to make that comment because my story is a little bit similar. But if you want to do something, step one is just to share that idea out there, right? Because it's hard to do something on your own. You need help from others, and my story is somewhat similar to that. So to get to how I launched my career in Japan. So I was went to a U.S. college, and it came to start looking for internships, and so. I went to there used to be a career forum that used to be in Boston and San Francisco that would try and hire Japanese bilingual people who went to college in the States. Unfortunately, I heard that forum doesn't exist anymore, but that is how I first, from the US, started looking for positions in Japan. Fortunately, I interviewed there and I landed an internship. And so from there, did the internship in Tokyo for one summer and was fortunate enough to be given a full-time offer to come back, a year later after I graduate. From there, I went back, to finish my last year of college. And I was looking for more internships so I could get more exposure. Yeah. Landed another internship in the U.S. while going to college at a very, very major Silicon Valley company. Did their internship for about a semester. And from there, I was fortunate enough to also get a job offer from that group I was in the U.S., but B, also go to one of that company's hiring booths and request to interview for a position in Japan. So I did both, and I was fortunate enough to get job offers from all three. So I had 3 job offers. Now this might be a little bit of a shock maybe for people who don't know, but starting salaries in Japan are actually quite low when compared to U.S. positions or overseas positions. And so I had this one job offer from the U.S. and these 2 job offers from Japan, and it was night and day. It was a very, very different number. Let's just say. So I lost, unfortunately, my ambition for coming to Japan was overturned by the lucrative offer from this U.S. company. So I took the position in the U.S. However, I think here's when it starts to kind of match your theme. From all that interviewing process, I made connections with people in the Japan office at the current company, and they knew I had interest. They thought I was good enough to hire, and so didn't follow up on it at that time. But started out my technology career as a software engineer in the U.S. Working late one day, just working at that server in the lab till 1 a.m. or something crazy like that, and came out of the office completely tired. And on my way out, I bump into the guy who made the job offer to me in Japan, and he goes, "Hey Ben, how are you doing?" I'm I'm tired, so much work, it's tough. And he's like, "Oh, you ready to come to Japan yet?" I was like, yeah, you know what? I think I might be interested in that. And from there, it was just within a week or 2, I had another job offer on my table to go to Japan. And from there, it was just it happened all very quickly. And next thing I knew, I was working at the same company, but in the Japan branch, in kind of a similar role, like a technology liaison between the partner and the company. So yeah, that's it. It was all timing. It was all luck. But, I think something that I wanted to share is everything in life, nothing is exact. Nothing is going to happen for sure. It's all probabilities. It's all luck. And just to put the odds in your favor just a little bit, or increase your percentages just a little bit, is sometimes all it takes to like get to your goal, you know. And I think so your point of like sharing your ideas and what you want to do with others around you gives them the opportunity to help you, and here I am. It worked out for me, so very much do recommend doing that.